If you ever stumble across a Minecraft server called Craft, don't join it. I don't care how curious you are, or how bored, or how badly you want to see something different. That's what I thought too, and it nearly cost me everything. I know how it sounds. Another creepypasta, another haunted server story. But listen carefully, I can't tell you everything. There are gaps now, holes where my memories should be, things I swear I knew yesterday that are gone this morning. What I can give you is a warning, the same one I wish someone had given me. The first time I logged in, it looked ordinary. A plain grass field, a single oak tree, the sun frozen in the sky. But it didn't take long before I noticed the eyes. Blocky villagers, standing at the edge of my rendered distance, all facing me. Not moving, not blinking, just watching. At first, I laughed it off. Mods, I told myself. Some edgy kids attempt at being spooky, except they knew things. One of the players in chat typed out my name, my real one, not my gamer tag, then my address, then the color of the shirt I was wearing. I should have logged off right then. But curiosity is a trap, and I was already caught. Every time I joined, the server showed me something new. A structure shaped like my house, down to the crack in the window above my desk. A room in-game that perfectly mirrored my bedroom. Computer screen glowing, bed unmade, curtains half drawn. Sometimes, I'd see myself in that room, moving the way I moved, a perfect copy staring back through a blocky monitor. And when I tried to tell friends, when I begged them to check it out, things got worse. One of them disappeared from Discord entirely after logging in. Another swore his webcam turned on by itself, light glowing red, even when the app was closed. There's more, too much more. The server doesn't just watch you. It learns. It remembers. And the deeper you go, the less of yourself you get to keep. So I'm telling you now, don't search for it. Don't ask Arrow. So I'm telling you now, don't search for it. Don't ask around. Don't even type the IP if you see it whispered in some forgotten forum. Curiosity will only bring it closer. Because once Craft sees you, it never stops watching. And it's already too late for me. Before all of this, my life was normal. At least, as normal as it gets for someone like me. Nights were long, filled with glowing screens, Discord calls buzzing in the background, and endless scrolling through server lists when I should have been sleeping. Minecraft was my comfort food. Simple, nostalgic, a digital campfire I could crawl back to whenever real life felt too heavy. It wasn't even about playing seriously anymore. I hadn't built anything impressive in years. Most of the time, I'd just hop on with a couple of friends, load into a random world, and waste hours mining cobblestone while talking trash. It was less about the game, more about the ritual, that late-night rhythm of block-breaking sounds and inside jokes. We had a tradition, too, server roulette. Someone would pick a random IP from a sketchy forum or a half-dead server list, and we'd all log in together, just to see what kind of chaos we'd find. Half the time it was griefed wastelands or empty spawn points. Sometimes we'd stumble into weird builds left behind by vanished players. Giant dirt statues, endless cobblestone towers, signs with messages like "Help me" scrawled across them. Creepy, sure, but in a funny way. We laughed it off. That's what made nights like this feel safe. Familiar, comfortable. I'd boot up Minecraft, Discord would light up, and the same voices would greet me. Yo, roulette tonight? Bet. Someone find us a cursed server. Not it. I remember leaning back in my chair, sipping flat soda, grinning at the banter. Outside my window, the street was quiet, just the hum of a lone streetlight. Inside, the glow of the monitor felt like a second sun. I was at home in that space, half tired, half-wired, caught between boredom and the thrill of maybe finding something strange. The truth is, we wanted something weird. That was the point. We craved it, like ghost hunters daring each other to knock on locked doors. Every click on a new IP was a little dare. Maybe we'll find treasure, maybe we'll find a troll, maybe, just maybe, we'll find a story worth telling later. But here's the part one keeps circling back to. The part that gnaws at me even now. If we hadn't been so desperate for something new, maybe none of this would have happened. Maybe I wouldn't be here, trying to piece together what's left of myself. That night started like all the others. A lazy scroll through forums, sarcastic commentary about dead servers, laughter at screenshots of bizarre builds. I had a second monitor filled with YouTube videos I wasn't even paying attention to, just background noise. The ordinary, the harmless. I didn't know how fragile that comfort was. How quickly normal could snap into something else entirely. Looking back, I realized that's how they get you. They let you build walls of routine, stack up days of monotony, until your guard drops completely. You think you're safe because nothing has happened yet. And then, the moment you relax, the moment you get bored enough to look deeper, that's when the crack opens. That crack, for me, was a name. A single server name in a list that shouldn't have existed. One I can't forget, no matter how much I want to. Erebus Craft. At first, it was just letters on a screen, half hidden in a list of dead servers. No description, no player count. Just the name, waiting. If I'd known what it meant, maybe I would have stopped. Maybe I would have logged off, called it a night, told my friends I was tired. But I didn't. I stared at it a little too long. I laughed it off like we always did. And then I clicked. The server list blinked on my screen, a graveyard of half-dead worlds. Most of them showed the same thing, 0/20 players, last online, years ago. Digital ruins, waiting for someone foolish enough to wander in. My friends were laughing about one that had a spawn shaped like Shrek's head when I saw it. Erebus Craft. It sat there like it had always been there, though I knew I hadn't scrolled past it before. No MOTD, no description, no ping, just the name. Black letters against a dark background, as though the server itself refused to offer any invitation beyond its existence. Hey guys, I said into the mic, squinting at the screen. You ever heard of Erebus Craft? Silence for a second, then a laugh. Sounds like one of those edgelord servers. But it's all obsidian castles and bad Herobrine roleplay. Or just empty, another chimed in. But it's dead like the rest. Add it to the roulette. I hovered over the IP. Something about the way it sat there felt wrong. Not dangerous exactly, just too deliberate. Like it wanted me to notice it. Like it had been waiting. Still, tradition was tradition. I copied the address. Alright, roulette rules. Joining in 3, 2, 1. The loading screen hung for longer than it should have. The dirt-textured background seemed darker somehow, like the colors were draining. I was ready to cancel, assuming the server was busted, when the progress bar jumped forward and the word loading terrain flickered. Then I was in. At first, it looked simple enough. A flat stretch of grass blocks under a frozen sun. The sky was pale, washed out, like it hadn't rendered properly. There was a single oak tree in the distance, too far away to cast a shadow. Where are you guys? I asked, turning in circles. No answer. I checked the player list. Just me. That didn't make sense. We'd all counted down. Maybe they got stuck on the loading screen. I waited, walking toward the oak tree, hoping they'd appear nearby. But as I got closer, the trunk shimmered. The texture flickered like static. Then it vanished, replaced by empty air. Okay, weird, I muttered. That's when the chat box pinged. Welcome. I froze. I hadn't typed anything. I was the only player online. At least, according to the list. Guys? Anyone else in yet? Still silence in Discord. The chat pinged again. We see you. The words sat there like a weight. I tried to laugh it off, convincing myself it was some plugin, a scripted welcome message. Plenty of servers had those. Except most didn't adapt to you. Most didn't make your palms sweat. I typed back, fingers shaking. Me, who's we? No response. Just emptiness stretching out forever. Then, in the corner of my screen, I saw movement. Tiny shapes standing just at the edge of my render distance. Villager models, blocky and hunched. At first, I thought they were mobs. But they weren't moving. They were lined up perfectly, all facing me. I turned away, and when I looked back, they were closer. All right, nope, I whispered, hitting ESC to log out. But the menu didn't appear. My screen flickered, stuttering like a bad stream. When it finally caught up, I was back in the game, staring at a dirt wall that hadn't been there before. I tried again. ESC, Alt plus F4. Nothing. The game refused to close. That's when Discord finally lit up. One of my friends' voices crackled through. Dude, where the hell are you? We all got kicked back to menu. I exhaled in shaky relief. I'm still in. It won't let me out. Then just kill the process, another said. Task Manager, end it. I tried. Control plus Alt plus Del. Task Manager opened. But the Minecraft window stayed pinned on top, refusing to minimize. The villagers were closer now, forming a circle around me. And then one of them spoke. Not in chat. Out loud. A low, garbled voice filtered through my speakers, too distorted to understand except for one word that cut through clear. My name. My real name. I froze. My friends fell silent in Discord. Then someone whispered, "Dude, did it just say?" I slammed my power button. The screen went black. For a long time, I sat there in the dark, heart hammering, staring at my reflection in the dead monitor. It felt like the game was still running, just hidden behind the glass. Watching. When I finally powered back on, the server was still in my list. Erebus Craft. Waiting. The next night, I told myself I wouldn't go back. That's what anyone would say after an experience like that, right? You brush it off as a glitch, a bad mod, maybe some virus hiding in the game files. You swear you're done. You promise yourself. But the promise doesn't stick. Me, I don't know. Just looking. A pause. Then, we see you. This time, I didn't laugh it off. The words pulsed on screen like they had weight, sinking into my stomach. I spun in circles, paranoid that I'd see something behind me. But there was nothing. Just villagers. I kept walking, half out of stubbornness, half because I was too afraid to stop. The landscape stretched on, endless flat fields with occasional holes like chunks that hadn't generated properly. In the distance, I spotted a structure. Relief flickered in me. Finally, something normal, maybe a house. It wasn't. It was a wall. A massive, perfectly square wall of cobblestone, stretching higher than the clouds. No doors, no ladders, just solid stone. Signs covered its surface, each one filled with random characters, like corrupted text. Except when I got closer, the shapes resolved into words. My words. Things I'd typed in Discord. Things I'd posted online. Whole sentences lifted from private chats. I stumbled back, whispering, "What the hell is this?" The villagers had followed, not walking, just appearing closer every time I looked away. A circle formed around me. None of them moved, but their heads twitched in unison, like a single heartbeat. The chat pinged again. Stay? For a moment, I almost listened. There was a strange pull, like gravity shifting toward the screen. My hand hovered over the mouse, numb. But then I yanked my headset off, slammed Alt plus F4, and somehow, mercifully, the game closed. My desktop reappeared like nothing had happened. Except in the corner, in the server list tab I'd left open, the name Erebus Craft was still there. Bold, highlighted, pulsing faintly. Waiting. The third time I joined, I told myself I was going to document everything. Screenshots, notes, maybe even a screen recording. Not because I wanted proof for anyone else. I'd already learned that friends only laughed or told me I needed sleep, but because I needed proof for myself. Something I could look at later to remind me it was real, that it wasn't just stress or an overactive imagination. I clicked Erebus Craft. This time, I spawned in a different location. No grass field, no horizon of villagers. Instead, I was standing in what looked like a village. Only it wasn't any village I'd seen before. The buildings were familiar at first glance. Wooden planks, cobblestone, torches glowing softly, but the scale was off. Every structure was slightly taller than it should be. Doors stretched too long, windows wide and hollow like eye sockets. When I stepped inside one of the houses, I realized why. They weren't designed for villagers. They were designed for me. The ceiling matched the height of my own room. The furniture, though blocky, was arranged exactly as it was in my apartment. Even the chest in the corner, when I opened it, was empty, just like the drawer where I kept old notebooks. My stomach twisted. This wasn't random generation. This was me. I backed out of the house, heart pounding, and checked the others. Same thing. Replicas of places I knew. My living room, my kitchen, even the lobby of the building where I worked part-time. The server had built a world out of my memories, block by block. I whispered, "How?" without realizing it, and that's when the chat pinged. "We know you." I typed back, fingers trembling. "Me? What do you want?" The pause stretched long enough that I thought maybe there'd be no reply. Then, to see, I turned in circles, panic mounting, half expecting to spot a username over one of the villager models. But they weren't around this time. Instead, the world itself seemed to be watching. Leaves rustled without wind. Torches flickered as if they were breathing. Every step I took echoed louder than it should have, like someone was amplifying the sound, replaying it back to me. And then I noticed something worse. In one of the houses, a replica of my own bedroom, there was a painting on the wall. Minecraft paintings are usually random pixel art, harmless and quirky. This wasn't. It was a screenshot of me, sitting at my desk, hunched over my keyboard, wearing the same hoodie I had on right then. The angle was impossible, as if someone had taken the photo from inside my screen. I ripped off my headset and checked behind me. Nothing but the dim glow of my room. When I put it back on, the painting was still there. The chat pinged again. "Nice shirt." My blood ran cold. I typed with shaking hands. "Me, who are you?" "You." That word sat on the screen like a curse. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, just stared at it, waiting for more. And more came. "Look outside." I hesitated. My heart was hammering so hard I thought I'd pass out. Slowly, I turned my head, not in the game, but in real life, toward the window beside my desk. The curtains were half drawn, just like they'd been in the replica room. Through the gap, for a split second, I thought I saw movement. A shadow pulling back, vanishing into the dark street below. When I spun back to the screen, the villagers were there again. Not at the edges of the rendered distance this time. Right in front of me, filling the room. Their blocky heads all tilted upward. Faces turned to the ceiling like they were listening to something above us. The game froze. My mouse refused to move. And then, one by one, the villagers' heads snapped down, locking their gaze on me. I don't remember shutting the game off. I don't even remember standing up. The next thing I knew, I was in the bathroom, splashing water on my face, staring at myself in the mirror. My reflection looked pale, drained, like I'd been awake for days. But here's the part that keeps me awake even now. When I went back to my desk, my webcam light was on. I don't own a webcam. I couldn't keep it to myself anymore. After the webcam incident, I felt like the walls of my apartment were too thin, like something had seeped through the cracks of my screen and was waiting just out of sight. I needed someone else to see it, someone to confirm I wasn't losing my mind. So I told my friends. We were on Discord the next night, the usual chatter about work, classes, memes. I tried to laugh along, but my voice kept breaking. Finally, I blurted it out. Look, I found something. A server. It's different. I think you guys need to see it. Silence on the call. Then a chuckle. Different how? Like Herobrine different or laggy trash different? You'll see, I said, though my stomach twisted at the thought. Just promise me you'll join. Together. They agreed. Of course they did. For us, roulette wasn't just a game. It was a dare, a ritual. If one of us found something strange, the others had to check it out. That was the rule. I dropped the IP in chat. Minutes later, one by one, their voices lit up again. I'm in. Yo, what the? Why is the sun frozen? Where the hell are all the mobs? I exhaled, a small, shaky relief washing over me. At least I wasn't alone this time. At least now they'd see it too. We wandered the empty plains together, their blocky avatars bobbing around my screen. They laughed nervously at the villagers on the horizon, made jokes about cult meetings, pretended to praise the sun when they realized it never moved. For a moment, I almost believed it would stay that way. Just another creepy roulette server we'd talk about later. But then one of them stopped talking. Hey, I said, you still with us? No reply. His avatar stood perfectly still, eyes blank, unmoving. Another voice on Discord said, Dude, you lagged out? The still avatar turned its head, not in the game's blocky, limited way, but with a sudden, unnatural snap. And then it vanished. Disconnected. On Discord, there was a sound, static, then silence. His username grayed out. Guess his internet died, someone muttered, though their voice shook. I tried to convince myself of the same. But then another friend spoke up, panicked. Guys? My screen just went black. Like, totally black. My computer's not responding. A crackle, then his voice cut off. Another gray username. We were down to 3. The last 2 of us huddled together in-game, standing on the endless grass like kids lost in a field. My friend whispered, This isn't funny anymore. Before I could reply, the chat box pinged. 2 left. We froze. My friend's voice came through, high and broken. Okay. No. Nope. I'm out. Screw this. His avatar spun in circles, then disconnected. And then it was just me. Alone. The villagers appeared again, closer than ever, ringed around me like a noose tightening. My Discord server was empty now, every username gray. The silence felt heavier than the static had. I shut the game off with trembling hands, heart pounding. That night, I messaged them over and over. No replies. One eventually texted back. Hours later, PC bricked. Won't turn on. Gonna take it in for repairs. The other never responded at all. His account went silent. Last seen, that night. The only one who ever came back wasn't the same. But that's later. I should have quit then. I should have deleted Minecraft, thrown my hard drive out the window, scrubbed my accounts, and pretended it never happened. But curiosity is a parasite, and once it burrows in, it doesn't let go. Especially when people you know start vanishing. One friend's computer bricked, another never came back online, and the one who did return, well, he wasn't really him anymore. His voice was different, flat, drained of inflection. His laugh was hollow, like it was stitched together from memory instead of instinct. Every time we played something else, Valorant, Apex, whatever, he'd drop into silence for long stretches, then whisper things like, "It's still watching." I asked him once what he meant. He just said, "You'll see." That's when I started digging. At first, I thought I'd find nothing. A random IP generator, maybe some shady plugin left over from a modding community. But the deeper I went, the stranger it got. Google was useless. The IP never appeared in forums, subreddits, nothing. So I turned to the darker corners, paste bins, old Discord dumps, abandoned Minecraft wikis. And finally, buried in a 2013 forum archive, I found it, a thread titled, "Servers You Shouldn't Join." The text was messy, half-broken English, riddled with typos. But one line burned into me. "If you see the villagers move wrong, exit before chat speaks. If you stay, they see you." The post had 2 replies. One was deleted. The other just said, "Too late for me. They're already in my camp." That alone should have been enough to slam the brakes. But the human brain doesn't work like that. Instead, I saved the whole page to my drive. And then I kept looking. That's when the pieces began to connect. Different places, different years, different usernames, but always the same whispers. A ghost server, an observer server, an IP that appeared for some and not for others, that led to a world without mobs, without sunrises, where villagers gathered like mourners around a grave. Some people described chat messages that knew their real names. Others claimed their PCs crashed permanently afterward. A few said they heard things through their headsets, breathing, static, distorted laughter. And then I found the part that made my skin crawl, a mention of coordinates. Hidden deep in some versions of the world, past endless plains, there was said to be a structure, an altar or a monument, depending on who wrote about it. Nobody agreed on what it looked like, but everyone who claimed to reach it described the same final message in chat. "You're ours now." Most accounts ended there, but one didn't. A lone paste bin from 2016, anonymous, no tags. It started like a journal, describing their journey across thousands of blocks, past glitching terrain, until they found what looked like a giant, unfinished I built from obsidian and quartz. And then, at the very end, the text cut off mid-sentence. No goodbye, no conclusion, just a single word. Uploading. My stomach twisted. Uploading what? The world? The player? Their mind? That night, I couldn't sleep. Every shadow in my room felt heavier. Every creak of my chair sounded like breathing. I kept imagining the villagers outside my window, necks craning too far, eyes empty and endless. But worse than that was the thought gnawing at me. If this server had been around for years, popping up for random people, collecting them like moths to a flame, what did it want? And how many were already gone? I tried to tell myself it was ARG nonsense. Some elaborate creepypasta stitched together by edgy teens, recycled for clout. But then I thought about my friends. About the one who disappeared from Discord completely. About the one who came back wrong. About the first time I saw my own webcam flicker to life. If it was just a game, why did it feel so personal? And then, the message. It was 3:14 a.m. when Discord pinged. A DM from an account I didn't recognize. No profile picture. No mutual servers. Just a string of numbers as a username. Inside was one line. Stop digging, or you'll join them. No links. No attachments. Nothing else. My hands went cold. I checked the account's creation date. Blank. Join no servers. Friends list hidden. And before I could even screenshot it, the message vanished. Deleted. The account gone. But I swear I could still see the faint outline of the text burned into my screen. I sat there in the dark, heart racing, every instinct screaming at me to walk away, to quit, to delete everything. And maybe I would have. But then my friend, the one who wasn't really my friend anymore, joined voice chat out of nowhere. No hello, no small talk, just static, and then his voice, hollow and cold. You want answers? Then keep playing. I don't remember clicking join server. That's the part that still rattles me. My mouse moved, my finger pressed, and before I even processed the choice, I was there. No splash screen, no loading tips, just the flat, gray world stretching endlessly under a moon that never set. No footsteps, no wind, no music, just the low, throbbing hum of my own headset, like static alive with intention. The spawn point was the same as before, cracked cobblestone, torchless, no mobs. Only this time, I wasn't alone. A name tag hovered in the distance. Not player 123. Not some edgy IGN. Just one word. Observer. I froze. My chest tightened. Every cell in my body screamed to disconnect. But my hands didn't move. It was like the server itself had latched onto my nerves, piloting me forward. The name tag flickered once, then disappeared. Chat popped open without my touching it. Observer, we've been waiting. I tried to type back, but the bar wouldn't register my words. Every key press just glitched into static symbols. Observer, don't speak. Just follow. My character's POV shifted on its own. I wasn't controlling it anymore. The world began to move, dragging me forward across endless plains, through forests of trees that all leaned toward me, their trunks bending unnaturally as if craning to watch. And then I saw them again. The villagers, dozens at first, then hundreds. Their blocky bodies twitched at impossible angles, like puppets dangling from tangled strings. Their heads rotated slowly, sinking in rhythm, all facing me at once. Their mouths opened, but no HRMM noises came out. Instead, from my headset, I heard it. Breathing. Not one breath. Thousands. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Like an audience holding their collective breath, waiting for something to happen. I whispered, out loud, not in game, "What do you want from me?" And that's when the villagers answered. Not in the game. Not in chat. Not in text. Through my headset, layered and distorted, their voices overlapped into a single, suffocating phrase. To watch. The word lingered, crawling into my skull, echoing with the weight of something that didn't belong in sound. My vision pulsed. My webcam light flicked on, and in the tiny reflection of my monitor, I saw myself. Except, my reflection didn't move when I did. It stared at me, smiling faintly, head tilted too far, just like the villagers. I yanked my headset off, but the breathing continued, leaking out of the speakers. The game dragged me forward again. My character climbed a hill, and from the top, I saw it. The monument. Not an altar, not a temple, an eye. A colossal, half-finished sphere of obsidian and quartz, lidless and unblinking, stretching so high it clipped the skybox. Veins of redstone ran through it like arteries, pulsing faintly, illuminating the plains below in sickly light. At its base stood the Observer, a cloaked figure in a player model I'd never seen before. No skin pack, no mod. Just a featureless, obsidian black shape with glowing white slits where eyes should be. Chat opened again. Observer, step inside. The eye opened. I don't know how else to describe it. The structure moved. Quartz blocks split apart like eyelids, exposing a void deeper than anything Minecraft should render. My screen stretched, pixelating, warping, as though the game itself couldn't contain what was inside. I whispered no under my breath, but my character walked forward anyway. Every block I passed, the villagers followed. Thousands of them, lining the plains, their necks snapping into alignment, their hollow stares drilling into me. And then my headset clicked, and I heard a voice. Not the villagers, not my friends. Something deeper, something that wasn't in the game at all. It spoke in a whisper that filled my room, vibrating my bones. You came looking, so we found you. I tried to quit. Alt plus F4, task manager, power button, nothing worked. My PC didn't even acknowledge me. The world kept pulling me closer, closer to the eye. Every watcher must be watched. The voice dripped into my skull like oil. As my avatar reached the monument's base, the void inside the eye seemed to lean forward like it could see me. Not the pixels. Me. Chat opened one last time. Observer, look. Against every instant, my gaze flicked up, and the void stared back. I saw myself, not blocky, not pixelated, but me, standing at my desk, lit by the blue glow of my monitor. Behind me stood the villagers. Not Minecraft villagers. Not blocky models. Human shapes, blurred and twitching, packed shoulder to shoulder in my darkened room. Their heads tilted, their mouths opened in silent gasps. And then, in the reflection, my other self, the one in the webcam, turned its head and smiled wider. The screen went black. I thought it was over. But then my speakers crackled. We are patient. We are many. We are watching. And in the corner of the screen, one line of text appeared, as if branded into the pixels. Uploading. My PC shut down. Hard. When it restarted, the Minecraft icon was gone. So were half my files. Random images, videos, notes, all replaced with corrupted black thumbnails. Except for one new file on my desktop. A text document. I opened it. Inside, just a single sentence. Now, they'll come to you too. The file closed itself, and my webcam light turned back on. When my PC finally went dark again, I sat in my chair for what felt like hours, staring at the lifeless monitor. My reflection lingered in the black screen, faint and distorted, and I kept expecting it to move again, to twitch, to grin the way it had before. But it didn't. Not yet. I should have walked away, pulled the plug, burned the hard drive. But instead, I sat there, trying to convince myself that it had been some kind of elaborate hallucination, sleep deprivation, stress, maybe even some hidden ARG coded by a deranged modder. I would have accepted any rational explanation, no matter how thin. Anything was better than admitting what I had seen. But the evidence wouldn't let me forget. The missing files. The corrupted icons. That single text document. Now, they'll come to you too. I deleted it. Or thought I did. But every morning when I turned my PC back on, it was there again. Same sentence. Same timestamp. Always waiting, as though I had never touched it. And that was just the beginning. At night, I'd hear the breathing. Not through the headset anymore, through the walls. Long, steady inhales and exhales, pressing from behind the plaster like someone was leaning their face against the other side, waiting for me to acknowledge them. The villagers followed me too. Not in the game, but in the corners of my eyes. A shape too tall, too still, standing by the doorway of my room at 3 in the morning. A figure by the streetlight outside, head tilted too far, staring up at my window. I'd blink, and they'd be gone. But the afterimage of their gaze burned into my mind long after. I tried telling friends. I typed out the whole story, screenshots included, but every time I hit send, the messages corrupted into blank text bubbles. Or worse, they came back with replies I hadn't written. Me. Do not resist. Me. Keep watching. Me. Soon you'll see. That was the moment I realized it wasn't just about me anymore. This thing, this observer, was spreading. Through files. Through networks. Through the act of telling itself. Every time I tried to describe it, to explain what happened, it twisted the words into its own voice. Like the story itself was a carrier, an infection. And here's the part that keeps me up. I don't think leaving the server was ever the goal. It wanted me to. It wanted me to see the eye, to stare long enough for it to stare back. And now, even in silence, even with the game uninstalled, I can feel that gaze like a burn under my skin. I've stopped sleeping. The dreams aren't mine anymore. I close my eyes and I'm back there, standing before that obsidian monument, villagers breathing in unison all around me. Sometimes I wake up to find my PC on, glowing faintly with that same pulsing red light. Sometimes I wake up already sitting at the desk, mouse in hand, the join server button hovering beneath the cursor. And sometimes I don't wake up right away. I just open my eyes to find myself in two places at once, watching and being watched, sitting here and standing there as the void leans closer. I don't know what happens when the eye fully opens, and I don't want to. So this is my only warning, the last choice I can make that still feels like mine. If you're hearing this, if you're reading this, don't go looking for Erebus craft. Don't search the forums. Don't dig through old server lists. Don't chase the rumors. Because the truth is, it isn't just a server. It isn't a game. It's a doorway. And the moment you look back at it, it looks back at you. So whatever you do, remember this. If you see a server called Erebus craft, don't join. If you've stayed with me this long, you probably think you're safe. Just another late-night listener with headphones in, watching some random guy rant about a haunted Minecraft server. That's what I thought too. But here's the thing, stories spread. They're contagious. And what I stumbled into, it doesn't want to be forgotten. It wants to be remembered, shared, passed on. That's why I'm telling you this. Not to scare you, not to entertain you, though maybe it's done both, but to warn you. Because even now, as I'm speaking these words, I can feel it listening, watching, measuring how long you'll stick around before you glance over your shoulder, before you pause the video, just to check that you're still alone in your room. I used to laugh at stories like this. Lost episodes. Haunted games. Cheap internet campfire tales. But I'm not laughing anymore. And you won't be either. Not when the sound glitches in your headset or the shadows in your screen reflection don't move the way you do. So here's my advice. Don't search for the server. Don't replay this story. Don't share it with anyone. Unless part of you wants to know. Because once you've heard the name, Erebus Craft, you've already let it in. Maybe that's why you can't quite look away. Why your fingers still hovering, debating whether to click off. Why a small, gnawing part of you feels like you've been chosen. I can't tell you what happens next. Maybe nothing. Maybe you go to sleep tonight and dream your own dreams. Wake up fine tomorrow. Or maybe, like me, you'll hear the breathing through the walls. See the figures under the streetlight. And maybe, just maybe, one night soon, you'll find your computer turned on without you touching it. A server name waiting on the screen. And a single word blinking in the chat box. Join. But hey, if you made it this far, tell me what you think. Drop your theories in the comments. Share this with someone who thinks they won't be scared. Just remember, stories spread. And sometimes, they spread you.